Hey Peter, it's nice to be on the other side of selling your company. How you feeling?
Oh man, I am fully relieved, man, fully relieved. And the fact that we got two offers at the same time was just a major blessing. That was because you start to get antsy because everyone when they sell their business, they think in 2 weeks they're going to get 10 people calling their broker. It usually doesn't work that fast, but yeah, I was happy. We got the two offers. The Amazon turnover went really good. Once he had everything that he needed to get.
That's awesome. And it was, several unique factors here, and one that kind of played up pretty nice, or a couple things that played up nice is, Santiago kind of looked up to you as like a mentor. Like that was a big factor in him with the
Yeah,
business. But then he also happened to be right in Miami where your packaging was and all of
I
that.
know. And in the beginning, I said, I said the lab's in Miami. If I can find a buyer in Miami, that would be the perfect situation, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
conversely,
it was perfect. That was really good.
yeah, it worked out pleasantly, surprisingly well. And conversely, the other buyers who very strong buyers, and I think, when we were kind of deciding what the better option was, it may be a little more risk with Santiago and the route we went, but doing the right assessment and weighing all the factors, I think we got you more on that route, and I think, ultimately made the right decision there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The other guys were, yeah, I would say like a corporation versus like real mom and pop buyers, which is what we got, which is I kind of wanted. I would have rather had real people buy it and someone that's just going to try to click buttons and plus Santiago speaks Spanish, and where you pick up the airport cargo at Miami, everyone there is Spanish, so it's a lot easier for him than trying to train someone else to do all that because it was hard when I started. My very first couple pickups were like crazy, but yeah, once you learn the process of importing, it goes a lot easier. It'll be easy for him too. So
And I know we had, conversations around that, and obviously your willingness and the whole process to just be supportive and everything. But, if you were telling like another seller about your experience and, working with a broker like myself in that process and trying to figure out the best way to work with potential buyers and all of that, how would you, talk about your experience there?
as I would say, definitely get hooked up with you. It was a great process. I think the thing that caught me off guard was that so I wasn't prepared for all of the paperwork and everything that you got to get together to present to the sellers. I mean, excuse me, the buyers. So I would just say, yeah, they just got to be prepared to have their ducks in an order. And I'm horrible at bookkeeping, but if they did it better than I did, you know, they shouldn't have a problem. But yeah, definitely
Yeah.
have all your books in order for like at least the last 3 years, and then it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's great advice, right? And like, working with a broker to know those pitfalls. Like, hey, we got to have P&Ls, we got to kind of have these things in an order to show a potential buyer because that's what they're going to look for. And doing the hard work and getting that together like you did made the rest of the process probably a lot easier for you where you didn't have to, you only had to meet with potential buyers and, then work when you got to the part of transition after you selected the right buyer.
Yeah, exactly. Once you got the paperwork done, then it's a lot easier.
Not getting into your personal situation, but there was a lot of things going on in your life, and possibly trying to do all of this on your own would have been a pretty difficult task. Can you kind of speak to how some of that stress, at least from selling your business, was alleviated by working with a broker?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't suggest ever selling a business without a broker. There's too many things you don't know. And I didn't even think about getting a lawyer to sell or to help me with the contract part. And then when his lawyer sent over paperwork, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I need to have a lawyer look at this. Because only a fool is going to try to do everything themselves. You know what I mean? It's you're selling a business. It's worth it to spend a few $1,000s and have an attorney, look over the contract. And yeah, the whole thing went really smoothly when you think about it. Overall, we had a really good buyer, and that was fair and reasonable. Saw things from both sides, and I wasn't trying to take advantage of him. He wasn't trying to take advantage of me. So I think it went really well.
Yeah.
I
I
definitely
think
wouldn't try to do it by myself. That would be foolish.
Yeah, and just touch on two things you said there. So on like the lawyer side, I think one advantage of working with a broker like myself was being able to give you a list, not telling you who to choose, but a list of experienced lawyers in this space that aren't just going to try to bill you hourly and run up a bunch of expense on you, but be reasonable and look out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You gave me a list, and I ended up with, I want to say her name was Jennifer, right?
Right. Yep.
And she was really good. Yeah, I liked her. I'll use her again when I sell my contracting business. You know,
Yeah.
she was good. I liked her.
And I think the other thing you said there that's also really important for a potential seller to know was the win-win mentality. And I recall as we were kind of working on those final negotiations and we kind of reached that win-win point. You're like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm glad that he gave on his end where you needed him to give, and then you kind of found that middle ground, and I think even got you know a little better on some terms in the deal that we weren't sure, and I think it all worked
Yeah,
out pretty
I think
good.
they made the initial offer, and then we countered, and then we countered back to their counter, and they accepted because I wasn't trying to be unreasonable or unfair or anything. And yeah, and then we got the rest of whatever paperwork was needed, which wasn't a lot. And yeah, it was a done deal.
Yeah, and I think we had a pretty quick turnaround from the time the agreement was accepted and we got down to the closing. We moved pretty quickly there, so that was
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
awesome. Okay, I know I don't want to take up any more of your time, but just a couple last minute things, like any surprises in there or anything that you would just encourage or tell somebody considering to use our services to sell their business.
I would say yes, definitely use you guys. Tell them to ask for Aaron, and yeah, have your paperwork ready. If you've got your books in order, that's 99% of it. Get your books in order. Don't try to lie about anything or anything stupid like that. Just yeah, be honest. Have your books in order, and it's gonna sell. It's gonna work out. Um, yeah, I was going through that personal thing. I won't say what that was, but so I was under a great deal of stress. So just the whole stress of just selling a business, as stressful as it is, and then I had extra crazy stress on top of it. But yeah, I was glad I had you there, and the whole thing went perfectly. I mean, I literally wanted someone, a buyer in Miami, who was mom and pop, not some corporation, and that's exactly what God gave us. So I felt blessed, and I'm happy. I'm moving on. I started the government contracting now, and it's too early to retire. Got to keep moving. Got to keep moving, man.
Awesome. Yeah, Peter, it was great to work with you, and I look forward to hearing about all the success in your new venture. And yeah, we'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds good. All right, Aaron. Take care, buddy.